You see, this is my Buffalo Bills setup that I designed, but this is what the app looks like. Welcome back. I'm trying to get back into the game here. I figured I'd kick off the holiday season with this. It's been years in the making of Christmas lights. I want to put some kind of Christmas lights up on the house one time. So I've been researching this, came across these guys here. They're little individual LED bulbs that you can use. I actually thought about doing it into a channel like this. You can buy channels, but they kind of pop in like this. But that means I got to build a whole bunch of these channels. I got to make brackets to go in to mount to the house. And I was actually going to do that. I was ready to do that. I had all the stuff here. I had the power. You got to buy a power outlet. You got to buy this little dig quad to run all these. And then there's a program called WLED that you can use. I also went back and forth with strip lights. If you're familiar with strip lights, you can put these in channel or diffusers and mount these all around the house. Now the problem with both of these is there's 5 volt and there's 12 volt. The 12 volt not so much for power, but the 5 volt you have to inject power. So you have to run power lines all the way along the side of the lights to inject power. If you don't have that, then what happens is it'll get dimmer as they go farther because they're only meant for a certain distance. So there was another problem that I faced. I'm like, well, do I want to run power? How do I run power through the channels or through that kind of setup? So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not sure yet. I bought a couple of these just to try them out. I have strip lights, obviously. You know, the price is about equal to the two of those. And then this year, I saw this one. I'm sure all you guys seen it on Instagram or Facebook, but this is the Govee products for Christmas lights. So when I saw those and I saw the way it's set up, I'm like, that might actually work just right, because this is what the strings look like for the permanent Christmas lights. So what they are is little squares, and there's an LED in there. It's a colored LED, and it has like soft whites and stuff like that. It's not dedicated white. I don't need that. I just want it for Christmas lights. But they're about every 16 inches apart. And the way it's set up is it's just 3M tape. So you would start, you have to figure out on the house where you want to start, and then you can run a full line. They make a 50-foot kit, 100-foot kit, all the way up to 150, or you can add on up to 150. That's the most you can put on one strand. And I'm like, well, these might work because my soffit's white. All this stuff is white. I can put it under there because one of the things is I didn't want to see it. You know, I didn't want to have to look at lights all year long, or clips and bulbs and all that all over the house. So I needed something that was inconspicuous. So I decided on this. I ordered a couple 150-foot kits, and then I came across their other products. They have these strip lights, just like these, but these are outdoor ones, so they have the plastic sheeting. And they come in 32 and 64s. And I'm like, well, 32 might work perfectly around the perimeter of the 2-cut garage. So I grabbed one of those. They also have the outdoor just regular bulbs for your lantern lights or your lights on your house. So I bought a 4-pack of those, swapped those out, because if I'm going to do this, I'll show you later in the app, but the way it works is you can combine all these into one group, and then you can run, like, say, the Christmas group, and it'll control all of these lights together in Christmas colors, which is also a nice little feature. This is what they call the curtain light. What it is it's a rectangle of bulbs, and I'll show you when we get it all set up outside. It's just a big sheet of bulbs. There's 520 LEDs in this. And what it does is it portrays pictures and stuff like that. Like, you can put any kind of pictures for Christmas. They have peace signs, they have hearts, they have pumpkins, they have all kinds of stuff. And I'll show you later in the dark when we get it all set up, but it's really neat. And then this one is just the bulbs. It's like the colored bulbs in a 45-foot strand that you can put out on the patio or something like that. This is the kit I bought. If you can see in the picture, that's how it goes. It just portrays lights. They're like little spotlights on the house. So instead of having like Christmas bulbs, you have little spotlights, and I'll show you later how these work, but they're all individually addressable. So when you're up on the house, you can do, it does different programs in the app, or you can make your own thing. Like, I made a Buffalo Bills themed one that just does like red, blue, and white, or red and blue. I mean, there's so many different things in the app. It's really a nice setup. The only problem with these, and I knew I would face it at some point, and I'll address it when we get outside, is they're not technically meant to be cut and spliced. Now, if you have like a single story home where the roof line just continues on, it's perfect. You can just keep on going with these. But mine, as you'll see, it has 2 peaks, and I have to jump from the lower to the upper, otherwise I got to run 2 different strands. And I only have 1 outlet out there on the front of the house, and it's not really convenient to run these because it's down in the front corner between all the roof. So it's not really easy to get to with the plug. So after going back and forth on where I wanted to start it, and I'll show you outside, I decided to start at one end of the garage and put a hole through the sidewall. And that way I could put the power in the garage and then run the line out and start at the end of the garage and go all the way down, up, and across the soffit with about a 100-foot line. So the problem with that is that I do have to splice in, and I saw a couple videos of people, and I'll link them in the description. They did some splicing and stuff just to try it out and see how it would work. So I went out and I bought some little solderless connectors that you can use a heat gun on and some heat shrink. And what I did is I tried it out on a couple of these. This one I ended up soldering on an end and then putting a heat shrink on it. Just because that was the end of the line. But I ended up cutting some of these down by 4, combining them to make a 16 light instead of a 12 light. And everything seems to be working, and hopefully it does. And we'll see how this all goes, because I'm going to go outside and hang these up now. And we're going to stick them on the soffit. You'll see as we go, the peaks, the best way to do it is to put 1 light facing straight down in the peak, and then run the rest of the lights down from there. Some guys will do them like this, so they're side to side in the peak. The problem is the light looks different when it's shining on there. So I'm going to try to get them in the top of the peak. But that was a whole lot of planning of where I wanted to put all these. So you'll see when we get outside, we're going to do that next. But I just wanted to introduce you to these. So I have a 100-foot strand. I actually bought 2 of them, which is 6 strands of lights. There's 12 lights in each. So there's 72 lights total in 100-foot. And you'll see when we get it all set up, and I'll give you a demo later. But these all come in 16-foot sections, so you can, it's easier to work with. You can disconnect them and then put 1 line up, 1 16-foot line, then connect the next one and continue on. And the connection is exactly the same length as the rest of them, so there's no even thought there. They have caps. If you're ending the line, you can put the cap on. If not, you can snip this off, and so you don't have to look at it hanging. But yeah, the only thing is, I know these are going to be, some of these are going to be in between the ridge of the soffit, so we'll have to see. We have to do something there to stick them up. It comes with extra clips to clip the line too. If you have a spot where you need like a corner turn or something, you can clip the line up there so it stays nice and taut. But yeah, let's get outside and we'll get these put up. We'll try them out and we'll see if we like them, because unfortunately they're not, I mean, they're not the cheapest thing. They're probably a little bit cheaper than doing this whole setup down the line, and definitely a lot more, or a lot less work. That's why I wanted to do it, obviously, because this would just be too much. I mean, I played around with it. It works. The app is nice. You can do anything you want, just like this app, but it's, you know, very time consuming. You have to find out, you have to get like a panel to put all this stuff in so you can run all the wires to that. And then there's different channel, you know, data channels, and I mean, I don't even want to get into it. It's pretty advanced for, you know, a DIYer. But these ones, on the other hand, these should work out perfect for anyone. And on top of that, I am connected now, affiliate with this company. So if I do like them, which you'll find out by the end of this, because so far I love these things, but let's see how they go up and how they work on the house. I'll have a link that you guys can go to, and some of these are on sale right now for the holidays. They also have a nice string light they just came out for Christmas tree lights. It's like a roll of tiny little bead lights, 66 foot, and it has the same effect. They're all individually addressable, so you can do different designs on it. But I'll show you how these all work when we get everything set up outside. I already have the bulbs in. Those are self-explanatory. They just screw into your lanterns on the front of the house. Strip lights already up. Also, it comes with, most strip lights come with adhesive backing. So all I did is find the center of the garage, and I ran this strip from the center out both ways and down, and then wrapped it around in one of the ridges around the trim of the garage, and then just stuck it on, and then just plugged it into the garage. It's pretty easy. You don't have to cut anything. You know, I mean, you can cut these, I think, every 6 or 10 inches or something like that, but I didn't even do it. I just wrapped it. There was a little extra left over. I ended up wrapping it up into the siding and then just doing it that way. So that worked out good. The curtain lights, I'll show you the system I did. Originally I just hung them up to see how they were, but I ended up taking some PVC and making a little frame, and then zip tying this to the frame. And then the frame I can slide onto 2 metal stakes outside in the bed, and that'll hold up the whole screen, so you have like a little screen for all the holidays. So that's it for the rundown. Let me grab all these lights and ladders and stuff, and I'll show you how we're going to set this up. Alright, so first of all, I drill a pilot hole here through the garage wall, and that sets me up to show me exactly where I need to drill on the outside. So I just grab my hole saw and my drill, and I start putting a hole through both sides of the wall. That way I can feed all the wires. I have to be big enough for the connector, so I got to be able to get the connector through. Now I lost my original footage putting the lights up, so you can see they're already installed here, but I'll show you exactly how it works. All I did was use some paint prep or alcohol to wipe down the soffit, and then you can just, each light has 3M tape on the bottom of it. You just peel it off. There's a little tab that you can pull it, and once you pull it off, then you can just grab, I had just took a piece of plywood block that was like 3 inches wide, and I just used that as my spacer. So I just stuck that up there and then stuck the light up. And you want to hold it for like 5 seconds, it says in the directions, just for it to seat real well. And then literally just continue on, one at a time, just spacing them out exactly the same, pulling them nice and tight. And then here, they give you a little extra clip here for tabbing this little extra wire up. Just another 3M little tab to hold the wires in place. So what I did is I peeled this one off and I stuck it up here to hold that wire up nice and tight, right up there to the soffit. Makes it a nice clean look. You can also use them around the lights if you want a little extra. So yeah, that's all I did was continue on from there, one light at a time. And then I'll show you here, right around the corner here, you can see I just kind of wrapped it up, put a little clip on there, and then continued on to the next soffit. And then up top here, I had to jump right there next to the window, so I ended up cutting and splicing. I'll show you in the next clip. And ran it across the top of the soffit, and then cut and splice back down. And here it is, cutting and splicing. I did do a bunch of experimenting with this because I wasn't sure. It says you can cut and splice. There's a couple videos that said you can cut and splice, but I wanted to play with it myself. And so what I did is I just literally peeled it back, you know, took some wire clippers, trimmed off the edge, and I got some of these solderless connectors to slip on here. And I also got some heat shrink, and I actually bought a thing of white heat shrink. It's right there on the counter. And that was perfect for covering all the connectors up with another protection of waterproofing, and it just blended in with the wire, so you couldn't see it at all. You'll see here in the end of the picture. But all the cut and splicing worked. The only problem I ran into is the beginning wire from the power supply. You cannot touch that one. That one has to be a full line of 12 lights. But some of the other ones I cut and spliced up to 16 lights together on one strand, and everything worked. The only other thing I had an issue with was when I went to individually pick a light to do some app work and set up landscape lighting, I did notice that they were in all different areas in that section because I had moved wires around. So it'd be a lot easier if you have a nice straight house with single floor and you can just continue on with the lights and not have to cut and splice. But in this case, you know, I wanted to do it for everybody else to show them what you can do. So here I just got my heat gun, just solderless heat connectors. You let them shrink down and then they seal up, and then I put the heat shrink on, and the same thing, just heat it up and let it shrink, and then it has a little like glue inside there, so it seals up all the edges. But yeah, it worked great. So yeah, when it got down to the end of it, you know, all these wires kind of worked out and went together, and I just made sure there's extra clips, and everything went up pretty quick. All right, so when it's all set up, this is what you end up with. Obviously this is my Buffalo Bill setup that I designed, but this is what the app looks like if you can zoom in on it. And then what you can do is you can go over to devices, which will show all the lights. Obviously I have the spotlights. I did the spotlights, the house lights, the permanent lights, and then I did a string light here around the garage. So you can go in here, you can adjust each one, you can turn each one on and off. Like if I want to turn off the actual holiday lights, I can turn them off, turn them back on, just like that. And then if you go over to automations, you can set up schedules. I already scheduled in a couple things here to turn the house lights on and off and turn them white, and then change them to colors if I want to. So it's a nice setup there, kind of schedule it all. Day, you can do it by day, like you can pick a certain day, like if you want to set up Memorial Day now, you can set up Memorial Day now for like next year. And then if you go to home, you can see all the different things. I got this one named Bill's Game Day, so I can set it up that way. They also have a scenic dream view, which I can click on here. And then what'll happen is you can go in here and you can change to different scenes. So you see it changes over. And then, so this one's like a fish in a pond there. So that's the curtain light in the middle right here. And then everything kind of changes colors, but that's a couple different, there's all different ones. There's a rain one. But you see how everything syncs together, so when you have all the same lights, they sync together, and you can make little scenes like this, which is kind of a cool little setup, and it's super easy to use. That's thunderstorm. Then you can go over to natural, which they have like ocean, and it's like an ocean scene. This is bonfire, and so on and so forth. So then you have like the regular like Halloween, Christmas. This is one of the Christmas ones. This is a candy cane, it's called. So it's like red and white with some green.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Halloween. But you see everything syncs up together. So like the curtain light changes over because everything's connected to the same thing. Then you go to get out of the scenic dream, but you can do music too. So in this case, I don't have any music going, and I don't have the, unfortunately, the light box. So there's a box they sell that you can sync everything to and play music to. But then if I go to, so at the bottom here, there's basic group that you can set up, and it links all of them together, so I can pick a certain thing if I want. Turn everything to white, turn everything to blue. Then I can go over to, I have an accent light setting here, so I can do accent lights and I can turn them all white. Pick whatever lights you want in the up in the rafters, and you can have certain lights on. If you just want down lights or you just want a couple lights on, you can pick and choose what you want. So it's just a quick rundown of the app, but it's nice that you can literally put everything together and group it all together. So like I have just a group of the 4 house lights here, which I run normally as just the only thing on, and I'm still trying to set up the accent lighting the way I want it. So eventually I'll have the accent lighting set up and we'll be able to run it just the way I want it. A really neat setup though with the way it goes and the way it connects together. I'm really impressed with it, and it's, like I said, it's super easy to install. I did have to get a boom lift to do up there in the rafters, so it was a little bit tricky there with the ladder. It's a nice setup. It definitely works for what I need. I'll put a link in the description for their website. It's an affiliate link, so if you want to use that link to get some of the products, it helps the channel, and it'd be great to have you guys subscribe. I'm going to do some more videos. Leave a comment down below if you want to see some more stuff on the app or some more individual lights, like if you want to see the curtain or something like that. And then I'll go through and I can do a separate video on it. But yeah, everything worked out great. I have no complaints. Some of the stuff works on Bluetooth, which would be one of the only complaints I would have, is sometimes it's hard to connect if you're not close enough to the lights or something like that. But a lot of the stuff, as long as you get it connected to the same Wi-Fi, it'll kind of run on the same group. So it does kind of work out that way. The little Bills emblem here is actually a GIF that I downloaded. You can pretty much put whatever picture you want on there. You just have to download a GIF and upload it into the system. So that's kind of cool too that you can do that. But I'll leave it here. I think this has been long enough. If you want to see some more stuff, let me know, and I'll do another video. Make sure you leave a comment for me below. Slap that like thumb at the bottom if you like this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.